Namaste. Let's review a little bit about the first, second, and third dimension, how they come to be, how they come into form, and how you have them inside of you. So let's have an approach where a little bit more practical, so you may understand better this process. We understand at least the point zero, where the point zero contains everything in a state of vibration. Everything that it will be, everything that it was, is in a state of pure vibration, is in dormancy, like a seed who has the tree within, but it doesn't know it's a tree until it becomes a tree, until it goes into the earth, until it have the water and then flourished. So we call that the one, the 0 point. And in that is the perception or the statement of realization that is, I exist. I exist. It doesn't say I exist when I do this, when I know this, when I become this. It just simply say I am in a state of existence for infinity. There's no any threat on that. There is no time in that. And there is no space on that. Meaning that you can be out of time, meaning out of the cycle of any dimension. You are out of any cycle and you will still exist. And any space, beyond space, meaning that it has no relation to space or time. That seed we can experience as the void, the emptiness, the silence, the stillness, the ununified self. In that state, you see nothing, you are nothing, and you don't know nothing. It's only I exist. No time. I exist only now. That is the law. We call this the first dimension. That 0 point that seems so empty is full of potential, like in the seed. Quantum speaking is a bunch of vibration, waves, magnetic, electrical, biological, plasmic, light, moving around. Disjointed. It has no order. Everything is contained in itself. You experience that in the center of yourself, when you are in a state of equanimity, when you are in a state of equilibrium, when you are free of any desires. I want this, I don't want that. The acceptance of receiving what it is brings you closer to that embodiment. But that embodiment is static, even if it's full of dynamism. It's also not existing. It exists, but it doesn't. It exists in potentiality, but you cannot see it. You cannot feel it. That is a being itself. And that is in every matter. And I tell you how we move. That being, at one point, say, I wish I know myself. I wish I know what are the potentials of my existence. The first desire, to know oneself. And in that moment, all the particles, plasmic, electrical, gravitational, light, plasma, start to organize themselves in two polarities. Poof. And each of that polarity has a particular makeup, a specific function, and a specific existence. That, in principle, is this first trinity. From zero come two. No one, two. Quantum speaking is the charges of the positive part and negative particles. And from that, religion and mysticism and science have given different, have recognized the different functions. We recognize the positive aspect as the expansive outwardly force, while the negative is more the contracted, the inwardly. It's more quiet, schooling. And in that depth, we have recognized the feminine and the masculine. So you can imagine that it's not only one that comes out, but many, many trillions of particles with different charges, like a sphere like a dandelion, one center with many rays, with different charges each. And in that moment then, we see that these charges in that sphere of the dandelion, if we can put it that way, start being attracted by their opposite. So the positive charge get attracted to another negative, forming trinities. Trillions of trinities. The trinities, we call it and live it and experience it as a third dimension, who has depth, width, and height. That's why we see things in 3D. In that formation, matters become, and the one delight itself to see itself in motion. Each of these charges offer a complex interaction among themselves, forming the 5 solid Platonic solids. If you can imagine those Platonic solids, just vibration. But when they're filled by the 5 elements, it becomes matter. In perfect geometry, combination of the 5 Platonic solids. And from there, all the permutation and combinations forming the seed of life, the flower of life, the fruit of life, the tree of life, the forest of life. Those are stages of perception. So when we talk about trinities, we are exploring the fundamentals of creation and the fundamentals of our living in the 3rd dimension, in the 3D. Not that we don't have another dimensions within ourselves, but we are not aware or they are not activated. By understanding, relaxing, embodying the 3D, we're able then to embody other patterns of creation, more complex, the cube, the octahedron, the icosahedron, and so on. It's all a matter of how complex these combinations are and how the waves of this polarity of creation, how fast, long they move, how they combine. It is all about putting in the 3rd D and in the 2nd D alignment. We're still struggling with the dual reality. Male, female, who is going to win, who is up, who is down, who is that, how to behave, what are the roles. We're still children experimenting with that 2 polarities. We're not far from the Creator or realizing that. And we have the chance to experience it in a tangible way, in a feeling way, in a mental way, in the 3D dimension. So hope this clarified the relationship between these 3 dimensions and the arrival of the Trinity, and you being in the 3rd dimension trying to figure it out, all this vibration and plasmic and gravity all together that forms the experience that you're having, that you call your life.